Wake
Wake
up!
up.
Hi, Ben. How are you, my friend?
Oh my gosh, I'm doing so well. I'm feeling so grateful. It's wonderful to see you today. How are
Wonderful
you
to meet
doing?
you as always. I'm doing really, really great. I'm in what would normally be sunny South Florida, but it has decided that this week that it wants to rain. So, so it's quite rainy outside. You see, this is what happens.
I thought you were in New York City there for a moment. I thought I
Right?
heard like sirens and wind and storms. I was like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, surprise. Yeah, so I'm in Miami Beach, and it's beautiful. I'm happy to be here, no matter what. And we're heading to Thailand on Saturday, so it's a stopover.
Ah, that's very exciting. Wow.
Yes,
Well, I
totally.
love this topic today. This came up in your daily downloads in the meditation this morning. If you don't follow
Yeah,
Daniel in the provocativeintuitive.com, he does some amazing free meditations every single morning. It's part of my routine. And what came up today was like being stopped by the Red Sea. Like, what's the
yeah,
Red Sea in your life? You know, we've just celebrated
yeah.
Chag Sameach and
Like
Happy
Sameach.
Easter.
That's right.
Um, Tell us like where for tell us about like what the Red Sea means for the metaphor in your life.
Okay,
And
cool.
so we can
Yeah,
look at like what's these things to look out for when we're feeling stopped. I mean, probably most of us don't have to like we pretty much know when we're stopped, but
right.
I love the metaphor of the Red Sea. So could you talk about that a little bit, and then we'll like
Yeah,
get into some solution for here, everyone.
of
And
course.
while Daniel's talking, if there's anyone who's feeling stopped by something in their life today, I would encourage you to comment, to leave a comment. Tell us what you're stopped by, and we can work through it with you.
Well, it's really awesome that we get to have this conversation today of all days, because today is the seventh day of Passover. And historically, I guess I could say that the seventh day of Passover is remembered as the day that the Israelites crossed the Red Sea, that parted the Red Sea and crossed the Red Sea. Now, what I know to be true from Kabbalah, which is a mystical, ancient understanding of the Bible and understanding of the Torah, the whole story is kind of like a metaphor. You imagine that Egypt is a metaphor for our ego. That aspect of us is really truly the desire to receive for the self alone,
Ooh,
right? And the
that
Israelites
Egypt
were
for ego.
entrapped in Egypt, meaning they were entrapped by their ego, right? We were entrapped by our ego. They were deeply, deeply, deeply spiritual beings who were trapped by their ego. So all of a sudden, Moses goes to Pharaoh. Pharaoh says, let my people, he says, let my people go. Pharaoh lets them go. The plagues end. They head for the Red Sea. They get to the Red Sea. They're standing on the bank of the Red Sea. And then Pharaoh decides that he wants to get them back. And so he sends his minions and his tribes to go and get them. So he goes, he sends his army to go get the Israelites, and the Israelites are at the Red Sea. The Red Sea. They're at the Red Sea. And I love this moment in the Bible where he says, God, Moses says to God, like, what, okay, so what do we do now? And God says, why are you crying to me? And it's such a powerful moment, because energetically, the Red Sea is a metaphor for that which we've decided is impossible. It is a
Hmm.
Red Sea it is a metaphor for those places in our life where we think we cannot overcome something. Okay.
Hmm.
And in that moment, there was one man who happened to be in Aries, and he just went for it. And he went into the Red Sea, and he went into the Red Sea, and it says that he was nearly drowning. He was up, whatever. And then all of a sudden, the sea split, the sea parted. So, what we can understand and know from this story, from the energy of this story, this spiritual story, is whatever you see in front of you that you've decided is your Red Sea, you've got to go through it. You've got to take action. You've got to take the opportunity to prove to yourself that the miracle exists and that you're worthy of creating a different reality, worthy of creating a miracle from that. So, what are our Red Seas? What are the Red Seas that are coming up in our lives? What are some of the things that we think are impossible? What are some of the places that we have just kind of maybe even given up because we thought, oh, that's so out of my comfort zone? It can also be, Ben, it can also be something in which it's like something that you've always wanted to do, right? Like
Yeah.
For me, learning guitar, you're always talking about like learning guitar, and you have this amazing balanced guitar program. Like, I'd love to learn guitar, but there's that aspect of my brain and my consciousness that goes, you're too old to play guitar. It'll be impossible for you to learn to play guitar. Do you really want to learn guitar? If you did, what would you do with it? Do you really have the time to do it? It's that kind of
Mm,
energy. That's a
yeah.
Red Sea.
Wow. Hmm.
So where's
Yeah.
your Red Sea? Let's dive in.
I love it. And if you're listening live, please let us know, where's your Red Sea. Comment below. Um,
Yes.
I think for me, it was interesting because my Red Sea used to be like my relationship with Dell computers.
Interesting.
Like, just feeling like I was meant to be back and working with them, and I didn't understand why, and something shifted and then it happened. So I'm looking at today, like, where am I really stopped? What's the thing? And I was thinking about that this morning too. I think part of it is having a child.
Mhm.
Feels like a Red Sea right now, like something I really want, but it feels like there's so many hurdles we have to get to have that,
Yeah,
in a
it feels
way that works for
impossible.
both of us. Um, I think also, it's something about being able to have it all, like that. I think my Red Sea is still stopped in thinking I have to work hard to receive, and that's something I've been really working on programming, like
Yeah.
um, how to let go more and practice receiving. So I still have that, like, needing to be busy, and I can feel my brain sometimes in that scarcity of, like, what have I missed, or what am I not doing that everyone else is doing, right? So that's that, when I have that perceived difference, like there's something I'm missing in my business or anything like that, which is totally not true because things are going great, but I still have that perception, like, there's something I'm missing and I have to catch up, and I
Can I
and I
ask
have that
you,
feeling. Hmm.
would you look at that as maybe comparison?
Oh
The
yeah,
comparison
totally.
is something that is blocking you. Like, you look at, how other things happen or manifest for other people, and you go, well, I want to achieve that too. And then all of a sudden it becomes a Red Sea for you because you're trying to do something that somebody else has done instead of just trusting your magic, trusting how
Yeah.
awesome you are, right?
Mm. Oh yeah, my ego totally gets in the way all the time, or just
Yeah,
um, I still have this old thing. I can feel it, like, trying to protect me, that wants me to be safe. So once, like, the saboteur will come up, or
sure.
the like, taking no action instead of, when I get really excited about something, sometimes I have this, like, I literally won't take any action because it's like a fear stops me, like a fear wall drops, and it's my potential.
Mhm.
It's my light. It's that thing that's still uncomfortable stepping into. I
Right.
love it, but it still is there and something I still work through. So that's why I wanted to talk about this, because it's something I get to work
Yeah,
through every day. And I think also the other immediate Red Sea in my life has been physical barriers. So I still have, like, a fractured wrist, and I had surgery, and I have this sprained like MCL, a knee ligament, and which actually has turned out to be it felt like a huge barrier because I am so physical and playful, and I love to be outside and exercise and move my body. I haven't been able to walk or ride a bike or drive or run or really
wow.
do anything. So I couldn't even, like, it's felt like very little autonomy. Like, if I
Sure.
want to get out of the house, like, how am I going to go? I have to either ask someone to drive me, or I have to, like, hobble, and my body's dealt with a lot of pain as a result of limping, and a knee thing is like, can take months to get better,
Of
right?
course.
Staying
Of
off of it.
course.
So the very thing that brings me joy and helps me feel mentally balanced is kind of been taken away. And so I've had to get creative with how to nurture myself in other ways. And so
You've
it's been
also
really
had to
interesting.
stop, right? It's made you stop. It's made you actually
That
stop and
too.
self-reflect,
Yeah. Yeah.
and in that self-reflection, I'm sure that you have learned a lot about how to actually move through your Red Sea. you know?
Mm.
So I remember it reminds me of when I had COVID so horrifically, like in the very, very early stages, and just being bedridden for weeks. It was like weeks at a time. And it would go and then it would come back and it would go and it would come back. And I was like, wow, this is really, really crazy. But it made me stop and look at my life and say, wait a minute, what am I choosing? Right? What would I choose if I knew that everything was possible? You know, and that's when I started traveling. And one of the things that Jason says here, actually, Ben, is he says he really wants to travel the world, and his Red Sea is getting back to have relationship, which I think is so beautiful, Jason. You know, what is stopping you? What is stopping you from actually choosing that? What is stopping you and getting in your way that is maybe making you say, I can't have that, or the time, I don't have the time, I don't have the resources, I don't have the space, I don't have. Anytime you say I don't have, you create more of the Red Sea, right?
Absolutely.
Every time
Yeah.
you say I can't, you're creating more of the Red Sea. You're not parting the Red Sea, you're creating the Red Sea, right?
And I
So
even
what?
perceive that for some of us, it could be like, well, I want this relationship to work. And so
Yeah,
we're trying to force something to work, or I want this to work. We're trying
right.
to force that to work. And we think because that's not working, that nothing is possible. Right. But it's just that slight pivot we have to turn to see all the other possibilities. And so what I wanted to talk about is like, what are the solutions? So, and Jason just said it right here, myself is getting in the way, which is
Yeah,
perfect example. So the solutions that I've found that really work for me and that I've seen with other people too is to not be alone, to share this with someone else, to ask for help. So
yeah,
in this, I got this beautiful gift in that I've been teaching this 19-year-old man yoga twice a week, and he's
cool.
recovering from a knee injury. And surprise, surprise, we have the same knee injury. As I
Wow.
was training him, I came to find out, and I was actually, so I had been designing yoga and exercises and postures and places to bring him comfort, relief, and strengthen his body around that knee. I'd been doing it with him, and then find out I have like the same thing. So basically, I realized, oh, wait, I have been moving my body. Like I have been finding great ways to be of service and nurture myself. I have been slowing down more. I've been getting proper sleep and
Yeah,
being really careful. And it's had me be so present. And I've had to ask for help. I've had
sure.
to ask men to come over and spend the night. I've had to ask for people to drive me places. I've had to ask for people to bring me food. I've
Right.
had to ask for people to help bathe me and clothe me and all those things. So it's been really humbling. And then I realized in the asking, we're just designed. We're meant to do this with each other. We're meant to together. There's always a greater solution. So I find, one of the best things is to share this with someone. That's
Yeah,
the first step.
totally. And it's receiving, right? It's so beautiful
Yeah. And then
because
step two, like whatever they have to share, just receive it. Yeah.
yeah, because we're so programmed. Even last night, I did this beautiful event here in South Beach, and I looked around the room and I asked everyone what they wanted, and I was like, "You say you want that, but you're unwilling to receive it." It became so, it became so obvious to me. This energy that we all have. It's so easy to ask, right? It's so easy to ask for what we want. So easy to say, "Oh, I need help, or I need this, or I need that." Well, maybe it's not so easy, but what happens when somebody actually shows up and says, I want to be here for you, I want to do this for you? You go, no, 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 it's okay, go take care of somebody who really needs help. I'm okay, I
Mm.
just have a broken leg, you know. And
Or a
we
broken heart.
or a broken heart, you know, we diminish ourselves and we become that's when we become the key, right? That's when we get out of our own way and become the source of the solutions just by receiving. So if somebody shows up in your life and they want to help you, or they want to provide for you, or they want to gift to you, they want to be that person who's the first to walk through the Red Sea so that you can walk through it too and show you that it's okay. Take it, go for it. No?
I love that. And it's reminded me, and Jason being here too, Jason is in dude school, and a place where I've created for men to learn from each other and guided by me with the topics that most men face today. And it's something I've been researching for a long time. And it's incredible that every time I bring these conversations to men, how much healing happens just by sharing.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a community or a place you go to share with other people, I highly, highly recommend you find one. And that could be one
Yes.
other person. A
Yeah.
power greater than yourself is one other person or more.
Correct.
And ask and then see what shows up. Dude School, which I'll put a link for because we've got a new round coming up May 1st. And we still have spaces for a few men who are looking to upgrade their lives and deepen the connection with themselves in the space of others. So I find that it's in the reflection of others that we grow, that we learn even more about ourselves, that we're able to receive and give the medicine that we're meant to have. And I found even that why I've created some spaces for men is because I was raised by women, and I see how some of the spaces that were held for women that were not held for me. And then I think also I feel like one of my duties as a man to serve equality and to serve women is to take better care of myself and to help other men take better care of themselves so that they can support each other, so that we can support each other.
Yeah.
And yet our programming still, if we're in male bodies or female bodies, still today is quite binary. So I
Totally.
found that some of this healing can really be done even more so with people that look and feel like you,
Right.
because we've had similar programming, and we get to unprogram all of that stuff too. And so even by hanging out with you, Daniel, and then the opposite too, like being with people who are completely different from us to
Yeah.
learn from them. Even in dude school, it's multi-generational. We have a lot of different sexualities in there. Um, there's a lot of opportunity for eldership and to learn from different perspectives. And I think it's important to ask and to learn from people who are different and ask what they receive. And I know, Daniel, you were talking about community, and that someone asked if they could like hold a dinner for you there. And you suddenly got tapped into this amazing community locally where 8 people showed up just to meet you and get to
Yeah.
know you and say welcome. And
It was
who
amazing.
are you?
Right.
Yeah.
It's also being present too, Ben. It's like one of the things that I hear you saying about why you're so passionate about men's work and starting dude school and all of that is really also the awareness of what would it take for us to I don't know, maybe this is a little utopian, but I'm just going to say, like, what will it take for us to not see ourselves as separate? You know, we have bought into all of these roles, men and women and straight and gay and black and white, We have all of these roles that we we perceive that we have to play, right? And for so long, it was like, oh, women are allowed to do the spiritual work, but men are not, right? Men have to be the ones who, go out there, do what they do, have a career, but women get to do the spiritual work and what have you. I think all of those judgments are shifting and changing, and it is our responsibility to kind of put ourselves out there and do the work for each other, and to really see that we as a global community, we as humanity, male, female, doesn't matter. We are all in it together, and we are all creating a greater future. And oftentimes that's the Red Sea in our lives. The Red Sea is wondering if that's even possible.
Yeah.
People will ask me, they will say, like, we do all this work, and what do we do it for? And I say we do it because when we work on ourselves, we actually change the world. And
Yeah.
that's something that we can get. We can get the fact that even though I think, who was it? Was it Gandhi who said, you may be one person? Do you remember that quote? Um, I don't
I
remember.
know what you're referencing.
You know what I'm referencing,
Yeah,
right?
you may
Like,
be just one person, but it's like,
but
if
to
you've ever
one
think,
person, you are the world. That's it. To the
mm,
world, you may be one person, but to one person, you may be the world, right? And if
mm,
imagine in that level, we could actually activate that energy and change one person's life today. One person. If you've changed one person's life, you've changed the world. And that person could be the same person that you go to bed with every night, by the way, right? Because often the greatest space lies with the people that we're the closest to.
Including ourselves.
Including ourselves.
Yeah.
That's right.
And we don't have to face these relationships alone either. Like anything we're going through, we can invite other people into it. And I find that if we share anything that we're going through, we immediately allow others the opportunity to be of service, and then you're of service to them because you're asking them for their wisdom and to be of service to you. And it's a great contribution when someone comes to you and says, hey, I could really use some support. It's such a it's an honor. It's a way to honor someone to reach out. And
it's a beautiful space to be in.
Yeah. And I think, Daniel, what are some of the ways that you, like, what is your Red Sea today? And what are some of the ways that you find access to break through those barriers?
Thank you for asking. It's funny because my Red Sea, I actually saw my Red Sea coming up today, interestingly enough, that you should perceive that. I think the role that I play as a teacher, the role that I play as a therapist or a healer, or that role that I play in my life is so natural to me, and I love it. I love what I do. But I oftentimes don't share my stories. Like I don't share where I could receive more help or where I could receive some support, because I'm always taking the role of that one, that person who is the support for everybody. And we were just talking today, and I was listening to your story, and I was like, oh, that's so beautiful, that Ben has this capacity to also be so vulnerable to share what it is. And in truth, that's something that is still very hard for me, and I think that is really my Red Sea. I think that level of I guess you could really call it truth, because that's really kind of when we take off our masks and we say, oh, you know what? Yeah, my mask is that I'm a teacher and I'm a leader and I'm this and I'm that, but also underneath it, I'm also one. I'm also a follower. I'm also a learner. I'm also a student. I'm also the one who needs healing, as in addition to the one who is the healer. So I think for me, that's my Red Sea. My Red Sea is allowing myself to be that. So thank you for asking.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that with us, Daniel. Just by sharing it, I feel like you allowed us to see you a little bit more.
Yeah, and it's uncomfortable. I will be honest with you. It's really uncomfortable. And even as I say this, I'm like, gross. But that is the Red Sea. I mean, you can imagine the story is that this one man who went to part the Red Sea, as he went to part the Red Sea, he almost drowned. And it wasn't until he was like up to here that the Red Sea actually split. So it's that feeling of uncomfortability, maybe almost that you might even be dying, God forbid, that, you know what I mean? Metaphorically, like it's something that like is really, really challenging for you. That's probably a good indication that that's your Red Sea.
Yeah, because also those massive help keep us safe at points in our lives. So, a lot of that growth happens outside of our comfort zone, and it's because our comfort zone has taught us what's safe, but that was a really old conversation with our nervous system. And what's so beautiful about what you shared, Daniel, is like, I just like love you more, and you may feel like you want to vomit, but like that's the power of the group, is that just by sharing yourself, we feel closer, and then like we just love you more.
Thank you.
You get to know that you can share yourself and be that vulnerable and still be safe and a great leader. And I think it wasn't until I started to work with coaches who were like, oh yeah, I'm a total asshole here, and I suck at this in my life. And I'm like, exactly. Whoa, dude. Totally. But it was so humbling to hear someone say, yeah, we're humans.
Yeah.
We're all on this journey together, and we all get to be students together. And I think, thank you for reminding me of those masks too, because I often forget to receive. That's one of the reasons why I love doing your meditation. It's part of my commitment to myself to allow someone else to guide me.
Thank you.
So
by the way,
I'm really grateful for you.
I want to add, just today we actually started to offer the daily download also on Facebook Live. Okay.
Oh, cool.
Obviously, I prefer that everybody comes on Zoom so that we can have a connection with each other. but we're also doing the daily download on Facebook Live on my Facebook, or I'm sorry, Instagram, on my Instagram account. So that happens every day at 8:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I would love, of course, my desire is to build a community of like-minded, like-hearted people all over the world where at the same time, same place, 15 minutes every single day, we are dedicating that energy. Okay? Cool.
Oh, my mic was muted. So, what I wanted to say is if you're listening live and you haven't subscribed to our podcast, please do so. It's a way you can help spread this medicine and tools with other people in your life, and also be the first one to hear this when it's shared live so that you can get instant access to this beautiful medicine and wake up to your potential. So please share this with someone in your life today. Go step into your Red Sea and join us same time, same place next week.
So grateful for everyone. Thank you for being here. And thank you, Ben, as always, for being the best co-host possible. Thank you so much.
The feeling is mutual. I love you. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you.